Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters challenge. We have two blended Scotch whiskeys, and that's what they have in common at 80 proof. That's what they have in common. Two 80 proof blended Scotch whiskeys. So they're both blended and they're 80 proof. Okay. Other than that, they're not too similar. Here's Dewar's 12-year age. It's big. 1,750 milliliter bottle. Beautiful bottle. It's $48.99 at Total Wine and More. Available at a Total Wine near you, because I just checked their website and they have it in the store less than 20 miles away from me for $48.99. The regular bottle, you say, well, I just want a $7.50. That's $25.99. So you bought two of those, that's $52, $51.98. So if you buy the handle, you're going to save about $3. So, but that may not mean much to you. Probably wouldn't mean much to me. Now, Chivas Regal blended Scotch whiskey, the Mizunara version. Mizunara, introduced in 2014 for the Japanese market. It's finished in Japanese oak barrels, and then later expanded for U.S. availability. Now, interestingly, there's no age statement, but interestingly, the Mizunara is $45.99 for this bottle. So if you get Dewar's 12 year, it's $25.99. If you get this, it's $45.99. So we're talking about a $30 difference per regular size bottle. Now, it's going to take a lot, and I think you would agree with me. It's going to take a lot of quality for the Mizunara to be $30 better. Now, I expect it to be better, okay? But come on, $30 better? That's a stretch. Now, I did not pay the full price for either one of these. I have to admit that. The Dewar's 12 year, this will sound like an extraordinary lie, but it's the truth. This was $14.99 in a discount basket at Mathern's. $14.99, this huge bottle. There was no way I was passing on that deal. So I bought it immediately. And then I told my friend David on the phone, and he said, "Why you didn't buy that for me also?" I said, "Well, look, I don't know what you want." So he rushed over here and bought it. And he told me, from now on, if you see any whiskey in the discount buggy, buy it. Don't ask, buy it. I mean, if it's a Clan McGregor for $5, he's going to want it. Might take him 15 years to drink it, but he wants it. If it's this, he absolutely wants it. When I saw the Teeling for $14.99, once again, he was like, get it. So I bought the Teeling Irish whiskey. Boy, he just loved that one. I know his friend was with him drinking. She likes it too. So he said, "Oh, that Teeling's is superb." He had never heard of it before. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. Now, the Mizunara. Robert, the whiskey scout, thought it was such a good deal, he insisted that I send him some. I buy it for him. So I made a special trip all the way back to Savannah Discount and bought him a bottle, and he sent me the money plus a little bonus money. Not on I said, "Well, I'll get you to change." He said, "No, don't worry about it." All right, now, I told you, $45.99, $45.99. But we bought this at Savannah Discount for $17.99. How is that possible? I don't know. I saw it on the shelf for $17.99, boxes of it. And I thought to myself, I said, something tells me this is a lot more expensive than $17.99, because I know the regular Chivas 12 is $35. So I bought it, and what a great discount, right? Nearly $30 discount. So I am so pleased when I get these fabulous deals. It may never happen again. Just because I got great deals in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again, right? So we may as well take advantage of the ones we get. So here we go. Foil cap, twist cap, plastic, brown glass. That's good. It protects the whiskey from light. I read that on a whiskey website. One of the companies, I don't remember which one, it was saying, yeah, it's best to keep them out of the light. And because the sunlight, especially those grocery store or liquor store lights, can hurt the whiskey. They said, well, of course, but the brown bottle is going to protect, just like brown beer will protect. Brown glass bottles will protect the beer. Well, one company will say, oh, it's a farce. I was reading an old Miller beer ad from the 19 teens, I think. And it was saying, don't fall for those lies about brown bottles. What was the ad called? The brown bottle farce or something like that. Or the brown bottle swindle. And they were obviously aiming at Schlitz, saying, that business about skunking the beer is hogwash, and going on and on. Stuart Pickard kind of believes that too, from England and Yorkshire, because he says, golly, just leave the beer setting out for 1 minute and all the skunk will dissipate and you'll be fine. Well, I tried that and it actually worked. There's a foil cap for the Mizunara. Now, interestingly, you say, oh, this is aged in Mizunara oak. I think that's what they had people thinking at the beginning, but look what it says on the website. And they talk about Sandy Hillsop and all of this, like James P. Madonna says the violin playing, they show a Mizunara oak tree. But then they're qualifying the statement. With a distinctive flavor that leaves a trace of hazelnut, Chivas Mizunara is a truly unique blend, blah, blah, blah. Then they got a asterisk. A portion, listen to this, a portion of this blended Scotch whiskey has been finished in Japanese Mizunara oak. Oh, a portion of it. So the whole whiskey is not aged in Japanese Mizunara oak. One of the whiskeys blended in here has been. You say, well, that's a scam. I don't know if it's a scam, but it's the truth. So they're touting something that maybe is not that spectacular. Although I have to admit, it does taste a lot better than the regular Chivas 12, which I find drab, bland. Now, does Chivas 12 taste bad? No. Does it taste great? Absolutely not. Is it sort of ho-hum, dull, and drab and not a good value? Yes, yes, yes. All of those things are true. I just assume buy a cheap American blended whiskey than to drink Chivas 12. Now you say, well, you gave it a 90 when you did the solo review. That's true, but it's declined since then. Sometimes things get worse. Like every time you taste it, it declines a bit. I mean, I can get Kessler blended American whiskey. That's, I would say, from my past experience, is as good as Chivas 12. And that should not be, I should not be able to buy a handle of Kessler for $16.99 and it's at least on par with Chivas 12 that's going to cost me $35 for a regular bottle. You say, well, Jim Beam makes Kessler, Beam Suntory. That's a big famous company of master blenders. They know what they're doing. I mean, they're probably putting in Jim Beam bourbon in it and everything, give it flavor. Oh yeah, yeah, of course. They are. Hi, Ron. Good morning, says Pan and Ming. Good morning to you. Thanks for watching. The appearance was the same. They're both like tan, what you call tan, not really copper, but tan, like light brown, what you call it. All right. Do I have a favorite? No. I don't work for either one of these companies. I have no horse in the race. I don't care who wins. It smells oaky. True story. Like oak. Not charred oak, but just oak. Like a lot of American blended whiskeys will have that oak smell. Like T.W. Samuels has the oakiness. Oh, Guess Beams 8-star does. It's been a while since I've had that. I had a whole liter, but it's gone now. Not a liter, just a 750 and a 375. So I had more than a liter, but at one point in history, but I had two different ones. The first Beams 8-star I bought was a 75-25 blend ratio, and the current modern bottle is 75-25. I mean, 80-20. 80-20. It used to be 25% straight whiskey, but now it's only 20% straight whiskey. Bourbon whiskey obviously is coming from Jim Beam, and you know it's Jim Beam. But anyway, doesn't matter. Now you see, this one does not have the oak aroma. This one has like fermented grain, like yeast. You say yeast. Listen to this. Yeah, you know how they make whiskey. It smells like yeasty, like bread, yeast, bread. Huh, how about that? Maybe the sourly honey top. So on aroma, I'm thinking that's in my left hand is the Chivas Mizunara, and in my right it's the 12-year Dewar's 12. I'm not sure. The Mizunara versus the Ancestor. Let's see. You almost get the impression they're adding oak extract to it, which, yes, there's such a thing. It exists. Because if you look at the website for Triple Crown American blended whiskey bottled in Missouri, an upped price, much more expensive than regular American blended whiskey with a fancy bottle. And they're trying to make it look like it's a gourmet. Although I got it cheap. But the Triple Crown, if you read the website carefully, it says with oak extract added. Yeah, this one almost tastes. I read somewhere that oak maturation imparts antioxidant in whiskey called ellagic acid. It could be true. I don't know. You say, what about peat and smoke? No, just sweet, honey-like flavor with oak from wood, oak. Let's see what the website says. Oh, heck, I got off the website. Go back to the history. Chivas Mizunara. Taste: smooth and rich with honey sweetness and a trace of hazelnut. I don't know about the hazelnut, but I'm not a real experienced hazelnut person, so I can't really say. Distinctive and spicy. It does taste kind of spicy. The nose, rich and fruity, presenting aromas of pear and orange. Well, you notice I didn't mention anything about fruit. Cast finish. A portion of this blended Scotch whiskey is finished in Japanese Mizunara oak, cast for an aromatic finish. All right. Let's go back over here. Once again, no smoke, no peat. So if you're one of these people, and there's nothing wrong with being one of these people that don't like smoky, peaty scotches, that you say, I don't go for that. I want a whiskey that tastes like whiskey, or what people are saying, quote unquote, like whiskey. This would appeal to you. These two would appeal to you because they're just like sweet, and whiskey is sweet. Bourbon is like sweet corn, if you buy sweet corn. And, and you got the vanilla from the oak and all. These are like that. Now, no, you're not going to think they're bourbon because they don't have the charred oak character like you would get with bourbon, charred oak character, see? But if you perhaps would drink in early times, which is a bourbon, except for this one important disqualification. Early times whiskey, also without an E, just like these Scotch whiskeys, whiskey without an E, is aged in used bourbon barrels, which means the char has been sucked up by the first running. Now it's like you're dipping a tea bag the second time and making tea, and somebody would say, "What's wrong with this tea? It's got almost no flavor. It's all washed out. Where's the tea flavor?" And you say, "Well, I'm trying to economize. I made tea with a used tea bag." They'd say, "What? Are you crazy?" Well, that's what early times is doing. That's true. It's like a used tea bag. They're using barrels that's been used before. And Scotch almost doesn't have to be. It's not a law. It's just a practice. It's a convention. See, a convention is a practice, not a law. Some people think a convention is a law. It's not. Like how to pour a beer. They come at me like the beer police. That's not how you pour a beer. I said, "Oh, that's a law?" And then they'll give me, I know what they're going to say. They'll go on and on about it. I say, "Yeah, that's a way of doing it. That's not my way." So, Scotch is typically aged in used barrels. So then you're not going to get that vanilla. I mean, yeah, that charred oak. I meant to say the charred oak. So these could, if you took early times and you mixed it in with these, that could confuse you a little bit. Cheers, Ron says BC's Beer Reviews. BC's Beer Reviews, whether, regardless if it's a bottle or a can, he's going to be reviewing a beer. He's got some exciting things coming up this weekend. I wonder why. So thanks for watching, BC. I wonder why only oak is used for making casks. Why not other types of wood are used? I wonder the same thing. I guess over the years with experimentation, they found out that oak gave it the best flavor. It's a hardwood. So the barrels might be more stable and whatnot. But now remember, Dixie beer, they used to make a beer in New Orleans called Dixie beer. And it was aged in cypress barrels. Cypress barrels. That was, they always said, slow aged in cypress barrels. And it gave it an unusual flavor, different from oak. And it was really good up until Hurricane Katrina hit. And that was the end of that. But that had been open starting in 1907, that brewery. So I remember Dixie. I used to love Dixie back up until 2005 because it had that unusual flavor that came from the aging in the cypress barrels, whereas most mass-produced American beers are just aged in stainless steel aging tanks. Some people think Budweiser is aged in beechwood barrels. No, it's not aged in beechwood barrels. It's aged in an aging tank, a stainless steel aging tank, and they put beechwood in the tank. So it has contact with the beechwood, not to give it flavor, but so that the yeast has a surface area to cling to. And it's bleached. Anyway, the beechwood is bleached, whereas they actually bleach it. So it's got no kind of aroma or flavor. So anyway, that's sort of like, I guess you say, a gimmick type thing with the beer, but they've always done it. And it does make it a different type of flavor. That's why Budweiser, you ever notice, got like a little bit better flavor than most of the other beers. I mean, I'm not kidding about that. I'm talking about the regular beers, You drink all these American mass-produced beers and think about it for a little bit. You'll notice Budweiser always tastes a little bit better, I think. It gives some people a nasty headache. I call it the Budweiser headache, but I think that's coming from the yeast strain. Something about the yeast doesn't line up with their physiology, and it gives them a nasty headache. Doesn't bother me in any way. So, I drink it, But I bought natural ice. It's not as good, but it's a lot cheaper. So now let's get to the point. Both of these are very nice. They're worth the price, I suppose. Is the Dewar's 12-year worth $25.99, $26? Oh, yeah. Sure it is. It's definitely worth the $14.99 I paid for the huge handle bottle. Haha. It's not spectacular, though. Like, you don't drink it and say, "Oh, wow, I can't get over it. It's so exciting." It's nice, but it's not like the greatest thing. But why would it be? It's only their second level. You know, it's not their top. It's not a Chevrolet, but then maybe it's just a, you know, a Buick or an Oldsmobile. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I said. Or maybe it's not a Plymouth, but maybe it's just a Dodge. Dodge being a little bit higher trim level. You say, what about a DeSoto? No, it ain't a DeSoto. I mean, you can get really fancy pants with Dewars. You want to get serious with Dewars? Then get serious. You need to be pulling the 15-year off the shelf, the 18-year, the 25-year. It gets really expensive. Now you're talking about, in some cases, $200 or $300. All right? That's how this works. People will say, Jose Cuervo, I wouldn't drink that. Yeah, and they go on and on. You know, it's like, okay, all right, I get it. And they keep going on and on. Jose Cuervo, Jose Cuervo. It's like, all right, that's a base model, man. People make mixed drinks with Jose Cuervo. Don't you know that? It's not made to be like, oh, let me put on my smoking jacket and my slippers and my fancy cigar that I paid $80 for and sit by the fireplace. No. There is a Jose Cuervo like that. Go check it at Total Wine and More. It's $400. It's aged for, I think, like 50 years or something. It's $400. That's what you do when you want to be serious. Not stunting and talking about being serious. I mean being serious. You pay the $400 for the Jose Cuervo, whatever that specialty is. Beautiful bottle. You say, what about you? Well, I ain't that serious. All right. But I didn't claim to be either. People like to do that. They'll take like a company's basic product, and then they'll use that to argue that the company's no good, and they'll compare it to stuff that's like the super premium from another company. Well, I did Lagavulin microscopic facility endeavor, and you know that thing was $350, and it's incredible. Yeah, well, it ought to be. You pay $350. And you comparing it to an $18 bottle. So like, does your mind work right? Did you get in a car wreck? Did you hit your head on the windshield? Can you think straight? Do you need some kind of like cognitive therapy? You know what I'm saying? Like, I run into this all the time with this kind of thinking, you know, this uncomparative comparisons. There is like a scintilla of smoke in peat, but it's so minimal, it's really honestly not worth talking about. Hello, Jeep and Foodie. Thanks for checking in. So we're not going to talk about a scintilla of smoke in peat because it's in a practical sense, it ain't in there. I'm going to say this is the Mizunara, but it's not $30 better. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't pay $45.99 for this if I could get the Dewar's 12 for $25.99. And I haven't even revealed it yet. I could be wrong. This might not even be the Mizunara, but I think it is. It's the Dewar's 12. So can't even tell them apart. And you could laugh. You can laugh and say, ha ha, you're so dumb. You couldn't even tell Dewar's 12-year apart from Chivas Mizunara. You're just so dumb, you dummy. I'm going to give you 3 hot snaps. Listen here. You could say that, but now you got to back it up, which means you got to make the video and you got to do the blind taste test, and let's see if you can tell them apart. Because they got a lot of experts out there. They run in here, there, and everywhere talking about how wonderful they are and how great of a beer and whiskey connoisseur they are. They shock themselves by being so fabulous. But they never make videos. They never make live taste challenges. They just do comments. You know, they're always making comments. Of course, with an alias. Obviously, they never use their real name. So I tell them sometimes, like, who are you? You know, well, you don't need to know that. Yeah, well, no, maybe I do need to know that, because, you know, you doing all this big talk like you Joe Biden or somebody. He uses his real name. He's not impressive. He never has been. Even when he was in his good mind 40 years ago, he was never impressive. He was like Walter Mondale, never impressive. But he uses his real name. He might embarrass himself on TV. He doesn't know it. But, you know, but he's out there in public. He didn't hide behind an alias like TY, making all kind of flamboyant comments and aggressive comment. Now, I don't agree with anything he's ever said in his entire life. I don't think I have. But, you know, you understand what I'm saying? All right, I got it wrong. Oh, well. That's the way it goes. Too bad. Too bad. That's why it's called a blind taste test. You don't know which is which. You think you know, but you don't know, and you may never know. But then again, you might. So that's why we do the blind taste test. Now, sometimes with beer, I'll do it recorded, but blind taste test live, because you can't get out of it. You know, some people, if they recorded it, they would just delete it and never show it. See? They're only going to show the successes. That's a sick outlook on life. But we just have to do it here and take the bad with the good. So I got it wrong, but I'll get over it some kind of way. I don't know what to do. Where do I go? Who do I turn to? Now, the next one, I would be shocked if I got it wrong. I would be shocked. I wasn't totally shocked with this one, because Mizunara, the Chivas Mizunara is not that different from the Dewar's 12. Okay. If I got Johnny Walker Red Label confused with Dewar's 12, I would be shocked. I would be very shocked. I don't expect that to happen. And I'm going to predict that it will not happen. The Johnny Walker Blue Label, I would be ashamed if that happened, but I wouldn't be totally dismayed. I'd be very dismayed, but I wouldn't be totally dismayed, just very dismayed, quite dismayed. And then closing it out on Sunday, Buchanan's 12-year versus the Dewar's 12-year. Same price, so. But the Buchanan's is way better. I think it's a much better product. And I can't talk about price because they're the same price. I just think for your money, Buchanan's 12-year can't be beat. Can't be beat. Can't be beat. Can't be beat. Burley Sullivan says, clinking the mugs, clinking the mugs, clinking the mugs. Thank you. That's a good thing to do. Thanks, everybody. I posted 2 beer reviews today. I thought they came out very nice. And then we did this taste challenge. That was a flop, but that happens when you go live, I guess. Everybody have a nice Thursday.